Hi, classmates. My name is Rene Rodriguez. I did have an audience set up for tonight, but they had, I guess, their plans changed and they weren't able to make it. So you all will be my audience. My speech is to persuade you to not use electronic cigarettes, also called e-cigs. So imagine your life in a box, and in this box you have little cracks, and within those cracks is air that seeps in your little box, and in this air is smoke. It's toxic and chemically filled smoke that seeps into your little box. And over time, your box starts to get filled and more compressed with smoke. But this is basically an image of your lungs suffering when you smoke cigarettes, or even worse, choose to use electronic cigarettes. I chose this topic today because I believe it's a norm in today's society. I believe the numbers are increasing, and it will be a problem if we do nothing about it. You should listen to me because you don't want to be the next victim of health problems caused by electronic cigarettes. I've also known a lot of people that have used or switched from traditional cigarettes to electronic cigarettes because they're either going with the trendiness, or they're just thinking it's safer, or they're trying to quit, so they switch to electronic cigarettes because they think it's safer. Today, I will be discussing the problem with electronic cigarettes, how education and health hazards and positively reinforced methods for coping are helping people stay away from cigarettes in general. So the problem with e-cigarettes is becoming a norm in today's society. There's a lack of education, and they claim to be safer because they don't contain tobacco. They don't contain tobacco like traditional cigarettes, and they don't contain as much chemicals. In 2015, the U.S. Surgeon General reported that e-cigarette use among high school students had increased by 900%, and 40% of young cigarette users had never smoked regular cigarettes. So this just goes to prove that the numbers are increasing, and the future isn't looking too bright. If you imagine like a world that has less people smoking cigarettes, the numbers are increasing because these electronic cigarettes are becoming trendy for reasons like they think it's healthier. But is it worse than regular cigarettes? Studies have shown that one Juul pod is equal to 20 cigarettes. So one of these Juul pods is equal to 20 regular traditional cigarettes. And to me, that's scary because that's very, very misleading. The amount of nicotine, the amount of chemicals, the amount of toxins are you like. It's hard to see when it's encased in the plastic. In the article, toxic heavy metals in vapes may increase your risk for cancer. It states heavy metals such as tin, nickel, and lead are present in e-cigs. So when you're smoking electronic cigarettes, you're also inhaling tin, nickel, and and lead. And to me, that's a scary, scary sight because once it's in your lungs, it's not coming out. And although you think although if you think it's safer, it's really not because it can cause the same health problems, such like just like cigarettes. So again, has less toxins and chemicals as traditional cigarettes, but it still isn't safe. So if you're thinking it's safe, it's not because it has all these harmful chemicals and metals, and it's all going into your lungs. But the solution would be to educate ourselves, to educate the youth, and incorporate healthier coping mechanisms for stress and anxiety, and lastly, to resist. So the first one is to educate ourselves. We need to, if we're thinking about using e-cigs or switching from traditional cigarettes to e-cigs, I would recommend going out of your way to do the research before inhaling the smoke, because once it's in your body, your body is gonna adapt to that. And second, and in my opinion, the most important is to educate the youth because they are next up. They're gonna do whatever whatever's trending, just like switching from traditional cigarettes to e-cigarettes. Uh, I think it's important to educate the youth because they need to know if they choose to use e-cigarettes, they need to know what the consequences will be. And second most important, we need to incorporate healthier coping mechanisms for stress and anxiety. Um, Healthier, positive coping mechanisms would be to start a workout regimen, maybe drink more water, regular stuff like eating better, drinking water, having better habits overall. But according to Mayo Foundation for Medical Educational Research, it is important to identify your trigger situations and have a plan to avoid them entirely to get through them without using tobacco. So that's the one that I didn't think of, like having figuring out your trigger spots, like what triggers you to want to smoke, and that's the one I didn't think about. But other than all the simple ones, this is really interesting to me. And lastly is to resist. We need to put ourselves in situations that won't want us to smoke, or if you do want to smoke, again, just educate yourself. The future generations, if we follow the solution, we would have happier and healthier people for our kids, the people we love, and the individuals in our community. So that is my speech. The problem is that there is a lack of education. The numbers are increasing, and we need to incorporate better mechanisms for coping. And to do that, we need to educate ourselves, educate the youth, incorporate better coping mechanisms, and lastly, to resist. That is my speech. Thank you.